Being the daughter of a king usually means a pampered life, but things are a little different and even a little darker when your dad's the king of rock and roll. Lisa Marie Presley's parents had a strange marriage. Her mother, Priscilla Presley, was just 14 years old when she fell in love with 24-year-old Elvis Presley. While still in high school, Priscilla moved to Memphis and spent much of her time with Elvis at Graceland. She had trouble keeping up in school, and Elvis offered her amphetamines to keep her awake. By many accounts, Elvis was a loving husband and father, and Priscilla enjoyed taking care of him. But the relationship was on Elvis's terms, and she began to feel constrained by it. Priscilla once described herself as Elvis's living doll. He demanded she put porcelain caps on her teeth and dye her hair to match his. After the birth of Lisa Marie, Elvis refused to have sex with her and resorted to affairs with other women. Elvis and Priscilla Presley's divorce was amicable, finalized in 1973 when Lisa Marie was only 5 years old. Priscilla still loved Elvis, but she wanted her independence. She and Lisa Marie continued to be regular visitors at Graceland, and Lisa Marie has fond memories of her time there.
Graceland was very much like Disneyland for her.
She described Graceland as a place where she and her friends were free to engage in wild antics without consequence, like riding golf carts around the property, then destroying them. In this respect, she took after her father, who was also free-spirited. Elvis died on August 16, 1977, when Lisa Marie was only 9 years old. His health went into decline, and Lisa Marie began to sense something was wrong. Occasionally, she'd find her father losing his balance. If there were no one else around, she would try to hold him up herself. With time, his health became worse. She was at Graceland with Elvis when he died, and the last time she saw him was at 4 a.m. She was up past her bedtime, and Elvis kissed her goodnight. She was the first to find her father's unconscious body the next morning. She immediately called Elvis's ex-girlfriend, Linda Thompson, who wrote in her memoir, A Little Thing Called Life, that Lisa Marie was frantic. Elvis's body remained at home for 3 days while Lisa Marie lingered by his body. Her mother, Priscilla, learned the news from Elvis's road manager. When she arrived at Graceland, she found Lisa Marie playing with her friends and assumed she didn't understand what had happened. Lisa Marie remains reluctant to talk about that night. She believes it would only serve to capitalize on her father's death. After her divorce from Elvis, Priscilla Presley began a relationship with male model Michael Edwards, who had a daughter the same age as Lisa Marie. The three of them lived together in a home in Los Angeles, and Lisa Marie attended a nearby private school. Although Priscilla painted a picture of a peaceful and quiet domestic life, a much darker and disturbing dynamic was growing underneath. After Priscilla and Edward split up, he wrote a tell-all called Priscilla, Elvis, and Me. In it, he described an attraction to Lisa Marie, who was a minor. Priscilla admitted her relationship with Edwards wasn't what she thought it was, and his public revelations of their private lives was a betrayal. Lisa Marie Presley was only 17 when she met her first husband, musician Danny Keough. They met at the Scientology Celebrity Center rehab facility, where Lisa Marie was sent after dropping out of high school and using drugs. Presley and Keough married 3 years later on October 3, 1988. The marriage lasted 6 years. Their marriage was shrouded in secrecy, likely in order to avoid publicity. The honeymoon was a Scientology cruise in the Caribbean. They had 2 children, Danielle, now known as Riley, and Benjamin.
It was probably the first person she met in the music industry that didn't care or wasn't after something else.
But Presley believed that her wealth and celebrity created feelings of resentment in Keough. She convinced herself the solution was to marry someone more like her. So, only 20 days after the divorce was finalized, Presley married Michael Jackson. They dated for 4 months before their wedding, which was a private ceremony in the Dominican Republic. They announced their marriage at the 1994 MTV Music Awards and famously kissed on stage. Presley later said that, quote, probably the biggest mistake of her life was ending her marriage to Keough in order to marry Jackson. While the relationship with Jackson dissolved after 2 years, she was able to maintain a close friendship with Keough. The Lisa Marie Presley-Michael Jackson relationship seemed destined to fail. Presley was coming out of a 6-year marriage, and Jackson had already been accused of child molestation in the press. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Presley said that Jackson persuaded her to believe his version of events and painted the accusations as extortion. She said that Jackson was very convincing, and she was determined to help him. His philanthropy convinced her he was a good person. Above all, Lisa Marie believed she and Jackson could have been a power couple. Jackson had first been interested in her when she was a teenager, but the feeling wasn't mutual, and she was in love with Danny Keough at the time. Years later, Jackson reached out to her again with an offer to listen to her demo, and she agreed. They kept in contact after that, and in a moment that Presley later regretted, she told Jackson that she was unhappy in her marriage to Keough. This only motivated Jackson. Once married, the relationship quickly deteriorated. The famous MTV kiss was orchestrated by Jackson's PR team. In an infamous 1995 interview with Diane Sawyer, Presley defended Jackson's friendships with children. Her instinct to protect Jackson, who she thought was wrongfully accused, was used against her. Public opinion of her changed. People thought she had an ulterior motive for getting involved with Jackson, but Presley has said she really loved him at the time.
I don't think that Lisa does anything for the press. She doesn't do anything that's not based on honesty.
Lisa Marie Presley embarked on a third ill-fated marriage, this time to actor Nic Cage. They met at a party in 2001. Like her, Cage was born into a famous show business family.
Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
Presley admired how Cage was able to separate himself from the Coppola legacy and pave his own path to success. Their relationship was rocky from the start. They split several times before tying the knot on August 10, 2002. A little over 3 months later, on November 23rd, the newlyweds attended the premiere of Cage's film adaptation. He filed for divorce on the 25th. Presley attributed the sudden breakup to Cage being a hothead. He admitted in a public statement that he still loved Presley. Lisa Marie then issued her own statement, expressing regret that the marriage had ended, but acknowledging that it was a mistake. Presley said the marriage was a result of being wild and young. Her days of marrying for the fun of it were over. Lisa Marie Presley thought she'd finally found stability when she married fourth husband, musician Michael Lockwood, with whom she had twin girls. But after 10 years of marriage, Presley filed for divorce in 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. Her lawyers claimed Lockwood took advantage of her financially. She also didn't like Lockwood's approach to parenting. In the immediate aftermath of their separation, Presley couldn't serve Lockwood divorce papers because his whereabouts were unknown. In a dark turn of events, Presley said she found child pornography on his computer, which led to their twins being removed by Child Protective Services. The girls were taken to live with their grandmother Priscilla until a few months later. The police closed their investigation without charges. The Presley-Lockwood divorce wasn't finalized until 2021. At first, Presley was ordered to pay Lockwood sizable legal fees. Luckily for her, an appeals judge overturned the ruling, and Presley no longer owed Lockwood a thing. No parent should have to bury their child, the saying goes, but sadly, Lisa Marie Presley did. In July 2020, at the age of 27, Benjamin Keough died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The coroner determined his death to be suicide. Lisa Marie released a statement saying she was heartbroken and inconsolable. There were reports that she and ex-husband, Danny Keough, Benjamin's father, moved in together as they both grieved. Keough's friend, Brandon Howard, said he'd struggled with the pressure of the Presley family name prior to his suicide. He felt pressured by the expectation that he would pursue an acting or musical career.
I mean, he loves music, but I really kind of don't want to, that's a lot to put on him, so I'm trying to let him do his thing without pushing that on him so much.
But despite his depression, Keough was often the first among his friends to be there for others. Howard added that Keough had a great laugh and was an excellent chef. In 2009, there were reports that Keough signed a $5 million 5-album deal with Universal Music, but that rumor was denied by the company. Lisa Marie said that she supported Keough in pursuing his own interests. Lisa Marie Presley has been private about her battle with opioid addiction, but she opened up about her struggle when she wrote the foreword in Harry Nelson's book, The United States of Opioids. Her addiction began with a painkiller prescribed after the birth of her daughters in 2008. Her foreword touched on the drug's corrosive nature, which affected both her father, Elvis Presley, and her ex-husband, Michael Jackson. Lisa Marie's drug addiction became public during her divorce trial, and she admitted to using cocaine during the last year of her marriage to Michael Lockwood. During their custody battle, his legal team cited her devastation over her son Benjamin Keogh's death as a potential trigger for relapse.
I'm not perfect. My father wasn't perfect. No one's perfect. And it's what do you do with it after you learn, and then you try and help others.
Lisa Marie had gone to rehab somewhere between 3 to 5 times. Her therapist said her recovery was remarkable, calling her a miracle. When Lisa Marie Presley inherited the Elvis estate in 1993 at the age of 25, it was valued at $100 million. Elvis had appointed trustees to oversee her inheritance, and businessman Barry Siegel emerged as manager of the assets. Within 2 years, he sold 85% of the trust's interest in the $100 million estate, receiving only $40 million return. There was an additional $25 million in stock, but by 2015, Lisa Marie's fortune had dwindled to $14,000. Her divorce records revealed that by 2018, she was $16.7 million in debt and had defaulted on a $6 million mortgage. Presley sued Siegel, alleging that he liquidated her assets without informing her. Her lawsuit also says that he bought a $9 million English manor from her trust while using the funds as collateral. Siegel countersued, blaming Presley's excess spending for the lost fortune. He said the sale of the assets cleared her debt. In an interview with Playboy, Lisa Marie Presley recounted a moment of outrage after seeing an True Hollywood Story report about her father. It contained interviews with close acquaintances who had contributed to his downward spiral. She believed they used the TV episode to attack his dignity, which was very important to him.
He actually either stood up or fell off his motor and attempted to crawl for a distance.
Inspired by the incident and motivated by sadness and anger, Presley went to a studio and recorded Nobody Noticed It. As the only child of Elvis Presley, and as someone who saw him at his most vulnerable moments, it's understandable that Lisa Marie would feel overprotective of his posthumous image. In fact, Lisa Marie said that portrayals of Elvis have been, quote, one disappointment after the other. But she said those words at a screening of Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, a film she thinks finally gets her father right. She applauded the movie on Instagram, praising Austin Butler's performance as the king and saying she believes he deserves an Oscar. Lisa Marie said the movie moved her to tears within 5 minutes of its starting. She also said it conjured up generational trauma in a positive way. She is still grieving her son, Benjamin, and is devastated he isn't alive to see it. She believes he would have loved the film too. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP.